Yo, what is going on, guys? I'm going to take you through the exact retention system that we would build out for a Shopify brand, starting with the back-end automations, recovering lost sales, data collection, and re-engagement. This is the entire ecosystem of everything you should be doing for retention. As you probably know, retention marketing should be responsible for 30% of your sales, and that's the bare minimum, really. Shopify say this number themselves, but I've seen brands do up to 60%. It really depends on your brand, your price point, and your marketing, of course, but 30% is the bare minimum, really. And the thing is about retention revenue, 30% retention revenue and 30% acquisition revenue, even though it's the same percentage, is not equal in value, because the retention revenue, you're getting 36 to 1 ROI, meaning you're spending $1 and getting 36 back on average. Next thing is it's almost free to advertise and it's highly profitable. These things make it highly profitable. And then when you compare that to acquisition revenue, something like Instagram, something like Google, something like Facebook, you're going to be experiencing a 2 to 1 ROI on average. You're going to be paying per impression or click, and you're going to have much lower profitability. Now, you need these two working together to get the best results, because this drives the traffic and this converts a lot of it. If you don't have one piece of the puzzle, your brand's going to be lacking. Now, you have to understand this buying triangle. This is something created by a guy called Russell Brunson, the owner of ClickFunnels. This essentially explains that 100% of the market, where on average people are at. So what most people do, the average and lazy marketers, they shy away from the rest of the buying triangle. So they're all going after this 3%. Now, this is a great percentage to go after because they are ready to buy, but you've got 97% of people that you could be potentially going after. 97% is much bigger than 3%. Now, if you know how to take these people and you know how to move them into the 3%, then you're going to be getting a lot more sales for your brand. And you're going to be able to take people from unaware to most aware. And if you look here, you can do different types of offers and deals in order to move people down. And the type of things that you're going to be offering to each sets of customers at each level of the funnel or each level of the triangle is going to determine what type of results that you get. So really important, you need to understand this, because this is the largest market, but it is harder to sell to. But if you watch this guide, it's not going to be hard to sell to anymore. So this is the first thing, the back-end automations. This is really the bread and butter of everything to do with retention for your brand. The back-end automations is everything, because one, this is going to do the heavy lifting for your brand, and two, this is what the majority of the traffic is going to be going through. So it's going to look something like this, right? You're going to have your email campaigns, which is going to generate traffic. You're going to have your paid advertising, Facebook, IG, Google, and then you're going to have your organic social, Facebook and Instagram, SEO, you've got Google, and now ChatGPT. All of this is going to be going into your brand, and then once it hits your brand, that's when the automations kick in. You need at least all these automations. I mean, you should be doing as many as possible. We build out as many as possible because you're building one of these flows out once and it can generate you revenue forever. So you want to at least have it there just in order to catch little strays, because if you have 3 flows that you wouldn't usually have and they do a small amount of revenue, like $2,000 a year, well, listen, it's another $6,000 for a very small amount of work. Now, if you look, it's going to be looking something like this if you put all the flows together. You need more flows going out, okay? This is over a week, over 2 weeks. Add more flows to your flows. You need more emails going out. This is where the automations are really going to do their best, because you're trying to get as many opportunities for a buyer to buy as possible. And when you start tailoring these around this buying triangle, what you're going to find is you're going to be able to move a lot of people down the buying triangle, and you're going to be seeing results like this. And if you don't have this sort of numbers of back-end automations, you're never going to be seeing that 30 to 60% of revenue. You really need as many as possible if you wanting to really increase it. The next thing you want to do is you want to focus on recovering lost sales. For this, you've got your abandoned checkout and your abandoned cart. This is for the 3%. This is to get these guys. Now, look, it's very important to go for the 97%, but what's even more important is to make sure that you're maximizing and squeezing every last bit of revenue out of the 3% as well. And you're going to do this by focusing on these 2 flows right here. Now, you've also got your browser abandonment flow. I definitely would have that. However, these 2 are the main drivers of recovering lost sales. And look, if you ever want to make yourself sick, go and check your Shopify dashboard and look at how many people have not completed the purchases. So many people. Now, the reasons for that, who knows? The dog might have just died. The tea's ready. Someone's knocked on the door. The Amazon driver's here. The mum's rung them. Whatever it is, you need to set as many triggers up as possible in order to reduce the distraction. We're just trying to get those people over the edge. And how we do this is by applying core building blocks. So it's volume of messages that they're getting, type of offers, objection handling, which is very, very important, and the copy, which is the words inside of the emails. Now, you notice here how it doesn't say design, because design is not the biggest driving factor. If you don't have these things going properly, you can have the nicest emails ever. But if you do not have this, the aesthetic of the emails does not matter whatsoever. Very, very simple stuff, guys. And look, this is what you want to be looking like for your abandoned cart and your abandoned checkout flow. You essentially want pretty much a carbon copy of both. You can copy it and do abandoned cart and abandoned checkout. Make sure your abandoned cart's set up properly, because you need to check the trigger for that, because it's not so clear on Klaviyo. But it's going to look something like this. So you're going to have a 15-minute reminder straight away. This is very important, because the reason why I say 15 minutes, what do people do all the time? They pull out the phone, their bus comes, their break finishes at work, they go to the toilet, they just get disrupted with their scrolling session. What you're going to find is a lot of these people were just about to buy, or they would have bought with a little bit of extra time on the site. When you send something within 15 minutes, you're catching those people in the same session of whatever they are doing. They are more than likely still doing the same thing 15 minutes later. However, you've given time for their advert to finish. You've given time for their show to finish. You've given time for their food to be ready. You've given time to eat. You've given time to answer the door. Just send a little reminder. Now, this is not a blanket for every single Shopify brand. However, you want to be testing this. But I found, over working with multiple brands and my own brand, 15 minutes is the sweet spot. And this is just a simple reminder. Simple reminder, that's all. Next thing, we've got another reminder. Change the copy on the email. Do not send the exact same email again. But this is going to be after 6 hours. Again, people might still be distracted after 15 minutes, so we're just cutting that chance in half by sending another one 6 hours later. Now, a reminder, 1 day later. They might be busy all day. They might just need a little reminder. But when I'm talking about having these building blocks and objection handling, the objection handling is incredibly important, because what you're going to find is all customers, when they're buying, they have justification in their mind. And they're justifying the purchase, and they also have a reason why they don't purchase. Now, your job as a marketer is to present that customer with as many reasons to buy as possible. So you need to be able to handle the objections, because we're trying to answer all these questions subconsciously in the customer's mind to push them over the edge. So every time you send another email, you should be answering a new objection. You should be answering another reason why they shouldn't buy. You should be offering more information. So make this different in the emails. Answer with a different objection. Make a main focus of the emails different. If it's something like a financial objection, what you want to be doing is you want to be offering a payment plan, or you want to be hitting them up with an offer. Now, this is what you want to do about 2 days later. Hit them up with 10% off. Give them some sort of free gift. Give an offer, because what you're going to find is a lot of these people, they're the highest interest. They've shown the most interest on your brand. They were just about to purchase. They might just need a little sweet deal to put them over the edge. And 2 days later, we've got a reminder of the offer. And then 7 days later, or less, maybe 5 days, 7 days, whatever you decide to do, whatever test works best, you've got the final offer scarcity. That's where you're saying, look, you've got this offer, it's selling fast, it's going to be done in 24 hours, this sort of thing. That's the final push to try and get them to convert. This email will do well, but this is the sort of length that you want to be seeing on your most important email flows, because we're aiming for this 3%. We're trying to get as much sales as possible within the 3%. We do not want to be having any gaps for the people that are almost ready to buy. Now, the next thing is we want to focus on data collection, because our job is to move people down this. Now, for data collection, you might be thinking, well, what's the difference between this and a marketing funnel? It's the same thing, it's just presented differently. Our job is to take people from the awareness stage, which is the biggest part of the market, move them to problem aware, to information gathering mode, to buying now. The best way to do this is through email, because you're advertising for pretty much free. You're moving people down your funnel. You're massively affecting the lifetime value of customers, and you can build out your ecosystem. These are the benefits of strong data collection. you have the opportunity of moving a customer down a funnel for free and marketing to that customer over and over again for pretty much no cost. That's going to have an effect on your entire ecosystem. And if you're smart about this, you can do this through the automations that we've just shared. But in order to get the automations, people need to do what? They need to either sign up to your email list or they need to go to the checkout on your site. And that is what we're trying to get. So for this to start working properly, the gateway to your entire ecosystem, other than the abandoned cart and abandoned checkout, is the pop-up form. This little pop-up that goes on your website, incredibly important. This is the doorway to your entire ecosystem. So the step one is to get the pop-up form firing. Very important for data collection. You can 2 times, 3 times, 5 times your revenue through email marketing if you've got a good pop-up form. People can also sign up on the bottom of the site, and I would recommend that. However, the pop-up form is going to be your highest submission on your website. So this is an example of a very nice pop-up form. So we always do a mystery discount. We've seen the best increase in revenue for a mystery discount. It sounds better than the 10% off people are used to seeing. And we're not saying give your email. What we're saying is we're asking a question, and then they click the question, and then the second step will be the email. This is not going to turn people off straight away because they're going to be getting the option of clicking something rather than submitting their information. So you're not actually asking them for anything yet. And this mystery discount, people are naturally curious, right? People want to get into your business and see what the discount is. You're going to see a massive increase. Very good job from Fluid doing this. Very good pop-up form. This is also a type of pop-up that covers the entire screen. That's something that you want to test as well. But the key to the pop-up forms is you need to keep testing, because the importance of this is that you're moving a mass amount of people up your funnel. And when you are advertising through emails, paid ads, organic social, SEO, you're bringing loads of traffic to your website. You want to be collecting that data because you might be selling to those people in 6 months time, 12 months time. So if you're killing that lifetime value cycle by not having the correct data collection in the beginning, then you're missing out on a lot of revenue. And this is going to have a massive effect on your total email marketing revenue throughout the entire year. When you are getting your pop-up form to perform highly, you need to be testing individual things. And these tests here are going to give you the highest leverage on increasing your pop-up form. So the best A/B test to run your form offers is one, offer. So 10% off, $10 off, free gift. We found that the mystery offer works the best. So offer a mystery offer just like this. Don't ask for the email straight away and just have no thanks on the screen. Works very well, definitely worth a test. But you want to be testing the offers. If you can come up with a creative offer, that's going to be your biggest leverage in the form submissions. Absolutely, 100%. Next thing, you've got the form types. That's the full page or the little small pop-up. That's another thing that you want to be testing. Next thing, time delay, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, percentage scroll time. Then the next thing is the copy. Now, one thing that I want to say about the copy, it's worth learning copywriting to a decent level. You know, like people who just put, oh, sign up to my mailing list. That is just... Nobody's doing that. Nobody cares about signing up to your mailing list. This is what you got to think with customers, right? Customers only care about themselves. They don't care about what's on your mailing list. And if you've not told them what they're getting, you're basically just putting what you're prioritizing before anything that they want. You need to give some sort of value, some sort of reciprocity. That's what you want to focus on, and you do that through copy. And one thing that I will say with copy, focus on your call to actions. You want to be focusing on a do this, get this fashion. You don't want to just be having weak wording. You need to be very direct and strong with how you're talking to your customers and directing customers with your words. Now, the next thing is re-engagement. So if someone's shown interest in your brand, you need to follow up with them like crazy, because if they haven't bought already, you want to be hitting those people up consistently, or you want to get them off your list. You don't want to be sending them emails at all. So don't be thinking, oh, I've got loads of people on my list, I don't want to boot them all off. Like, you're paying for those people to be there. So either sell them or get them off. Don't be afraid to send your marketing messages. You want those people shopping. Every prospect is potential revenue. And people's lives and situations constantly change. Sometimes people are going through hard times. Sometimes people get a pay rise. Sometimes people move country. Sometimes the seasons change and people need new clothing. Whatever it is, people's lives are constantly changing. If you can offer them a re-engagement offer 6 months, 12 months, maybe a couple of years down the line, you're going to pick up a lot of sales with that. You're going to get people back into your ecosystem. And at the very least, if you send a re-engagement email, you can get somebody going back through these flows again. So If you send them one email for a re-engagement, they might not buy there and then. If they complete an action on your site, like an abandoned checkout, they're going to go through 5, 6, 7 emails over a couple of weeks. That's 5, 6, 7 extra opportunities you have to sell to that person. So you want to be triggering these things constantly. This is the back-end automations. This is where you're going to get the power to really grow your revenue on your brand. So leverage your emails to set up automations that follow up with people. And your highest leverage way to re-engage non-buyers and old customers is by setting up something called a sunset unengaged flow. And this is going to look like a reminder, maybe text-based. You might send a personalized email. Hi, we've not seen you in a while. Give them a strong offer. Do not just give the basic 10% off. Ask yourself, how much are you willing to pay for this customer to come back into my ecosystem? One thing that I like to do is always compare it to my profitable CAC. So if I've got a $50 profitable CAC, if I'm happy to give Facebook that, I'm happy to give the customer that, because I'd rather have somebody back into my ecosystem. And the good thing about an offer on email, you only lose the money once they redeem the offer. You spend that money on Facebook, they might not even buy in the first place. It's very strong stuff. And then you want a warning saying, look, basically, buy something or we're getting you off the list. That's how you got to be with it. Now, the goal of this is to get people back into your ecosystem, triggering the flows, and give them a higher than usual offer to get them to buy again. So this is what the retention system looks like. These are the ends that you really need to focus on in order to get the entire market and really tailor messaging to the entire market and ultimately move people up. But retention revenue, this is just such a big gap, and I just see so many brands struggling with this and just not taking it seriously. And look, they're just losing money every month. So listen up, I don't make these videos for free, okay? I make these videos so I can help people make more money with email marketing and retention marketing. So if you want to book with a brand specialist, you just go to this page that's linked down below and you click this book button and you can speak with somebody, you can book a call. Simple as that. Some information about me, people we've worked with. If not, keep watching the videos, get some free value and subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.